YouTube's one and only transport handicapper here, and we are deep in the throes, halfway through the college football season, and well, almost halfway through the NFL season. Welcome to you tonight. Should be another action-packed show as we go ahead and look forward to some of the games coming up this weekend. Well, starting tonight, we had Georgia Southern, and App State. And I tell you, sometimes, guys, it's better to be lucky than good. You know who? Hey, Smelly Cat. You know who coined that term? Better be lucky than good. The great Lefty Gomez, born right down on the east part of the Bay Area there in Rodeo, California. Probably the greatest World Series pitcher of all time for the New York Yankees with the winningest record of all time. And he said it's better to be lucky than good. So, Mr. Z, we were going to take Georgia Southern tonight and put some money on the game, but Mr. Z said by the time I got there, it was too late. The game was already underway. It was 5 minutes late, and we saved our money. Hello, Diane. Good to see you tonight. So welcome in, everybody. Let's get down to it. 36 and 23 as we're heading into weeks number 8 for college and 7 for pro ball. And if you think it's easy to be picking winners, no matter what the sport is, you're matching your minds against the best bookmakers in the world. Offshore at Crips, Costa Rica, and in the Netherlands Antilles when it comes to Pinnacle Sports. These guys get the most money, the biggest bets, and they set the sharpest lines. And if you think that you have more information than they do, well, you probably got another thing coming, which is one reason I do not bet the NFL, because competitiveness is just too much right now. Parity is too much. On any given Sunday, any team can win. Let me get the this up here, and I don't like that. I like to bet where I can have an edge. And people will poo-poo gut feel, but if you gather enough information, you watch enough games, I feel like you have a pretty good idea of what matchups are going to work and what matchups aren't going to work. And sometimes you're just lucky, like I was tonight, by not having that bet go down. Let's hit that thumbs up button here and engage the chat if you have any questions. Is it difficult to sports bet? Well, sometimes when you go to a casino, you may have passed by the sports book area and you look up there on that wall and it looks like something from the Commodity Exchange of Chicago. You got no idea what's going on there. There's college football games, there's pro football games, there's World Series, there's futures bets on basketball and NCAA and hockey. There's a lot of stuff going on because there's a lot of people that bet sports. It's a big American pastime, and let's face it, when you got a little skin, when you got a little bit of skin in the game, oh, it makes it that much more exciting or that much more miserable to watch the game. So in future episodes, we'll talk about what we're seeing up there when it comes to sports betting. But for now, the trick is to try to keep a pretty good season going even better. Maybe we can extend it out. I don't know. But we're going to talk about the games that are coming up this week. This week, we're going to start with the NFL. Okay? And we've got some marquee matchups coming up. Actually, it's kind of a dopey week for football. There's a couple good matchups, but it's kind of it's kind of a dull week. All right, we got the NFL odds here. This is for week number 7 coming up in Pro Bowl. And I like to use the Vegas Insider. They have the VegasInsider.com. They have the freshest and the newest lines, in my opinion. So let's get down to it. That ain't going to work the way they got that out. The lines, sport news. Because it is nice if you can make money. It's very difficult to beat the line, though. Very, very difficult. So See, where in the hell did our lines go? NFL odds. I'd like to shop around. Not all odds are the same. Let's go over to DraftKings tonight. And let's look at NFL, the betting odds. Tomorrow, Thursday night football, we have the New Orleans Saints traveling to the Arizona Cardinals. And the Cardinals at home are a 2.5-point favorite, which I kind of question based on the way that New Orleans has been kind of gelling here. The over-under is 44 points. In other words, the total number of points scored by both teams together. Will it be over 44 or under 44? Who cares? I would be apt to just pick in this situation the Saints to go and get the job done, because Arizona's been a very lumpy, bumpy, humpy team this year. New York Giants coming off that big win against football. I say no win. Coming off that Sunday, we've got the 10 a.m. game. We got the Giants traveling to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Giants are coming off that big win against the Ravens. Push the Ravens down to 3-3, and they're moving their season ahead. The New York Giants. I like what they're doing. The question is, can Jacksonville bounce back? They started out like a house of fire this year, and they've just been in misery for weeks now. Losing, they just, ever since the Eagles game, it has really been bad. But at home, I'm looking for the Jaguars to potentially bounce back here on the weekend. Laying 3 points there with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now remember, I don't bet NFL because it's never been demonstrated to me that anybody can beat the NFL. People like William Walters, the greatest sports bettor of all time, they don't do the NFL. They go college because that's where it's a little easier to get knowledge and get an edge on things. Green Bay Packers and Washington Commanders. Green Bay's traveling to D.C. to take on the Commanders. Packers are 4.5-point favored in that game. All of a sudden, the Packers are looking real sketchy this season. Aaron Rodgers does not look like a happy quarterback right now. I think he suddenly realizes between he himself missing a couple steps and the composition of the offense not being what it used to be, the defense is still pretty good. It's not really the same product on the field. And the game wins aren't going to come easy. And yeah, you're going to get busted up. You're going to get hit. You might be too old to be, right, standing in that pocket and taking the hits. I don't want to see anybody get injured. But I'll tell you, I don't think it's going to be a great year for the Packers this year. It's never a good year for the Commanders, but they look like they might be gelling a little bit, right? They look like they might be gelling. I don't know. They had a really good game last time, Matt. I'm going to say flip it on this one. I don't know. I might be apt to take the Commanders in the 4.5 points at home. Figuring they're kind of rounding into shape, and the Packers are kind of look like they're on the skids a little bit. Bills, Eagles, Vikings, only real winning teams in the whole NFL. Well, we've got teams that have a winning record, but we have a lot of parity, Flan. It's hard to get an edge. Okay? And both Buffalo, the Eagles, and the Vikings have very superior programs right now. Tampa Bay at Carolina. I don't know. Carolina, you're getting 11 points with them. I'm not sure with Tampa Bay. Okay. Tom Brady again. His home life, his personal life is a mess, and I don't care what any of y'all say. You can't just grab your nuts, go out there, piss down your leg, and play football. He knows people are talking in the stands about Giselle and all that. He knows it. All that stuff takes a toll. We'll see, Diane. Okay. Mentally takes a toll. So, I don't know. I might like Carolina at home in this spot. Detroit Lions at Dallas Cowboys. Detroit Lions +7. The Cowboys -7. Who loves Detroit? I don't know. I want to love you guys so much. I want to embrace you and draw you to my hugely ample bosom and tell you everything is going to be okay. Started this season like a house of fire. Now you got to go down to Dallas. You got to play the Cowboys. Compared being in the NFL to being deployed I don't know, Missy. It's craziness. But I'm saying at home, laying the 7 points, I think the Cowboys can still get the job done. Atlanta Falcons and Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals laying 6.5 points at home. You know, I'm apt to go with the Falcons in this. San Francisco 49ers were pretty beat up last week. They have a lot of injuries, and the Falcons took care of business. All right, so I'm thinking Falcons on the road going to Cincinnati has been a little bit lumpy. They might just take it to them. Of course, 6.5 points, that's a lot of points to lay for the Bengals. So I might be apt to take the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, Dak is back this week. Cleveland Browns and the Ravens. I don't see any reasons. I've said it, but I don't know if the Ravens have so many home games. It's like the whole second half of the season is going to be totally on the road. They have Cleveland at home, laying 6.5. It's kind of like if you don't turn this shit around now for this team, grab your sack, get out there and play football, then the season is going to be problematic. But I think the Ravens laying 6.5 can get it done. Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans, 2.5 points either way. Pick it. Every week, it seems like the Colts can pull a rabbit out of their ass every week. Are they going to be able to do that every week? I don't know. Tennessee Titans at home, that's going to be a pretty big order. So I would go with the Titans at home, laying at 2.5. Jets and Broncos. It's the afternoon game. I got to roll with the Jets. They've been really, really looking good. Jets have been looking really, really, really solid. 1 point either way. I think you're getting a gift if you take the point and the Jets in this situation. They move the ball well. Their defense is good. They have good secondary for defense. I like them. Houston Texans at Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders at home, laying 7 points. Which Raiders team is going to show up? I don't know. They did win one. They grabbed it, got the job done. But I don't know if they're going to slip down to Dollsville at home against the Houston Texans. So I don't know. Probably take the 7 points in the Houston Texans in that situation. Kansas City Chiefs at the 49ers. Man, with the way the 49ers are busted up right now, you take the Chiefs laying 2.5 on the road, going into Levi's Stadium down there. I just got to feel like the 49ers aren't going to be able to give them the effort that they would earlier in the year, so I think the Chiefs laying 2.5. I know I hate to take a road team laying points, but that's the way it goes. Seahawks and the Chargers. Seahawks have been playing pretty damn good. You get 6 points in the Seahawks in LA. Could do the job up. Pittsburgh Steelers and Miami Dolphins. The Steelers are starting to feel their oats now with the game last week, and they're playing Miami in Miami. I don't know. I don't think Tua is going to be back this week. I think the NFL is really skittish in Miami about this guy. So maybe take the Steelers and the 7 points going in there. The Bears and the Patriots. Monday Night Football. New England laying 8 points. I feel like New England at home laying 8 points against Chicago. It's probably the gimme of the week. Okay, it's just the way I feel about it. Okay, let's get over to the college football now. And welcome aboard, everybody. since we got week 8. It's hard to believe we've been at this 8 weeks so far. So let me wet the whistle here, and we'll get down. I'll tell you what I'm going to be betting this week. All right. Let's consult the good book here. And we are betting 17 games. 17. Why not? Diversify your portfolio. All right. Sometimes you be lucky, like tonight. Mr. Z goes to the casino to put the 17 bets in. I told him, add an 18th bet tonight. Add Georgia Southern. Take the points at App State. App State absolutely kicked Georgia Southern's ass. We didn't get the bet down. Better to be lucky than good sometimes. So, let's get to it tonight. Let's get to it. Let's get the Vegas Insider. I like the way that they lay the lines out there. Troy don't really have a lot of interest. This was the game tonight. Was that right? Week 8, 7:30. Did Troy play tonight? Let's see. Troy. I might have week 8 and 9 mixed up. Troy. Oh. Let's see. Oh, they're giving. It's on the East Coast now. Okay, that's why I'm getting confused here. Okay. That's why I'm getting confused. Okay, this is a lot of games here. We'll get it right. Give me a second. Troy in South Alabama. Troy, I don't know what you guys, if you have followed Troy this year, but I have been impressed all the way back to when Troy was doing, I've just been impressed with their program this year. Hey, no problem, Craig. Hope you're feeling better. Troy at South Alabama. Troy's getting 3 points to go in there. I would be apt to go with Troy. Did we bet that game? No, we did not. Yes, we did. It was 3.5, and now it's 3 points. So we took Troy plus the points going into South Alabama, because I think Troy's program has really come a long way this year, and they have the drive to win games, and they're always competitive. They're never getting blown out. Virginia at Georgia Tech, and we bet this game. We took Georgia Tech was laying the 3.5. I don't know what our bet came in. Now it's Georgia Tech laying the 2.5 at home against Virginia. Virginia's been whereas Georgia Tech started real low. They beat Duke last week, and their power rating has really been going up over the past 3 weeks or so. So I think at home against a lumpy Virginia team, yeah, we took Virginia Tech laying the points we took Georgia Tech laying the points at home against the Virginia Cavaliers coming to town. Tulsa and Temple. Tulsa's laying 13 points, visiting Temple. Temple's such a bad program this year. I guess the question is, how much is Tulsa going to run the score up on Temple? I don't know. We're not going to be on the Western Kentucky. Don't care about that. Next game, we're on Iowa. What do we got? Iowa. Do we got Iowa here? The internet connection's really screwy tonight. Okay, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Iowa is going into Ohio State to play there, and Iowa is a 30.5 points underdog now in that game. I don't know, guys. Iowa has like not a lot of offense, but they have a hell of a defense. They're like one of the top 2 or 3 teams as far as defense is concerned. Right? I think it was Alabama or Georgia played. They had Georgia played real tight there. Right, until the end, they kind of blew apart. But I'm saying 30.5 points is a lot of points. I know I've said this before. Ended up eating it on Auburn. Right, I was good till the last quarter, and then that went to the shitter. But I'm not sure if Iowa is going to give up that many points to Ohio State. We're taking a shot on it. Taking Iowa and the 30 points. Their offense is just so terrible. But their defense is so good, maybe something freaky could happen. Maybe they hold Ohio State to 23, 24. I don't know. This is why we do a little bit of gambling sometimes. Most people are going to take Ohio State, but that's a hell of a lot of points there. Okay. Maybe we don't care about Cincinnati at SMU. Let me see if we took that Cincinnati Bearcats and SMU. Did we take that? Surprisingly, we don't have that game, but I would definitely be taking Cincinnati minus the 3.5 going into Dallas-Fort Worth to play that game, because Cincinnati's just been a pretty solid team, and SMU's been a little up and down. Akron, Kansas, Syracuse, and Clemson. Syracuse and Clemson. Did we bet this one? I don't think we had Syracuse. Nope. But I'll tell you what, Clemson, you're laying 13.5 points at home against a very good Syracuse team. I'll just leave you with that thought. We're not betting that game because I can see 100 damn things that go wrong. But I know Clemson at home in that stadium is a barn burner, and it's hard to beat them at home. But 13.5 points is a lot of points to lay against a really good quality team. So I would be apt to think Syracuse gives them a pretty good game. But did I feel confident enough to bet it? No, I did. Kansas and Baylor, I've got nothing on that. Okay. Duke and Miami. Duke lost last week. Second week in a row they lost by the skin of their teeth. But each time they covered in the game. Duke has been money in the bank this season, because even when they're underdogs by a lot of points, they're still covered. They're still coming in tight. They're playing at Miami. Miami's been very lumpy, and Duke program continues to perform at a good, no real blowouts, no down the crapper games. They come out and play great every single quarter. So we are taking Duke. At that time, it's now 9.5 points. Miami's laying 9.5 points to Duke. That's gone from 8.5 to 9.5. Generally, I don't like it when a line moves like that. Moves against me, steaming against me. But I got to stand up for a program that I believe in. And I think Duke, going into Miami, gets the job done. Toledo and Buffalo. This is a marquee matchup within the conference over there. Buffalo's defense has been really great. Toledo, I told you guys last week before, This quarterback for Toledo is amazing. And the top tier schools from the big conferences are going to be banging at this guy's door to try to get him into their program. Because this guy is an amazingly athletic quarterback, like a young Lamar Jackson here. He's got a good head on his shoulders. I tuned in last week. We got Toledo. I tuned in the first quarter. Kent State's up 21-0 against Toledo. I figured, oh God, what the hell happened? I'm dead. By the end of the game, Toledo had put up 52 points to like 32 against Kent State Golden Flash. This Toledo team is just, it's amazing to watch. It's a great performing team. Buffalo has got a great defense. I know we're laying 7.5 points with Toledo going into Buffalo. But I got to think that they're going to get the job done. Okay. Let's see. UNLV. No. So we took. So we took Toledo there. Let's talk about UCLA and Oregon. This is the game of the weekend. Chip Kelly, UCLA, Dan Lanham up in Oregon. You got two very good coaches here. Two very good football teams. Forget about that first game of the year where Georgia came in and kicked the shit out of Oregon. Okay, like 49-7 or something like that. Oregon under Bo Nixon. I don't like the kid, but the kid has been doing it up. But UCLA is a whole another level. This is like the Pac-12 championship preview here, in my opinion. Possibly Utah too. And I think UCLA going into Washington, hey Queenstown, that's a terrible stadium for a visiting team to play in. Up in Oregon, it's a terrible stadium. In Oregon to play in. All right. It's like a death sentence to go in there. But I have confidence that UCLA is going to keep this game very tight, very competitive. They're going to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They've studied the Ohio State game fields or Georgia, whatever the first game. My internet looked like App State first quarter. Yeah, well, we didn't get our bet down in time. That saved our ass. You take UCLA on the road and the points going into Oregon. How you doing, Lee? And I think, as Pocket Change would say, my friend, I know you're watching. You're still on strike. But UCLA is really the cock of the walk, I think, in the pack. I'm going to take them. We took UCLA going into Oregon. It's going to be a tough game. Oregon hardly ever loses at home. It's rated one of the worst stadiums besides Utah, besides Virginia Tech, besides Penn State, besides the big house in Michigan to play. The shoe in Ohio. Sometimes you got to grab your balls and back the team because you're getting the points and hope for the best. Okay? Georgia Southern at Old Dominion. I've kind of liked the way that Georgia Southern has been playing this year. Yeah, grab your nuts and get it done. Old Dominion is a pretty stable, solid team. I don't know why I'm taking so many points and going on the road with these teams. But I think Georgia Southern has a chance to get it done. Take the 2.5 points and go in there. It's almost like a coin flip. But I think that there's a good chance that Georgia Southern can get that done. And that line has not moved at all. And that makes me feel good. Let me check the UCLA was 6.5. That went from 6 to 6.5. Had little adverse line movement against me. I don't like it when a line steams against me. It might be smart money, sharp money, setting up for a kill, and then they're going to come in with a ton of money on UCLA. You just don't know. But it did kind of blow out a little bit. So, okay, so we got that. We got Boston College and Wake, who cares? Northwestern Maryland, who cares? Marshall and James Madison University. How you doing, DLS? I have no idea what happened to James Madison last week when they hit Georgia Southern. I'm looking like, what the hell happened, boys? I'm laying at 11.5 points, and Georgia Southern ends up winning the game. And it's a shootout, and we got the under. I'm thinking, we could, not only do we got James Madison bet number 1, laying 11.5 points, we also took James Madison, Georgia Southern under 66.5 points. The thing turns into a damn shootout. James Madison's never been in a shootout. What the hell happened to the defense? What did Georgia Southern see on the game films that kept them trading back and forth like bombarding each other? Touchdown after touchdown. It's almost like there was no secondary defense for either team, but I'll tell you, I'm impressed that Georgia Southern was able to do it. It got up against James Madison. And we are, last week. So now we got Marshall going into James Madison, and James Madison never, hey David Jackson, David, good to see you too. James Madison never loses at home. Look at James Madison the last 4 years. Their home record. This school is a wrecking machine. But what happened last week? I've seen Marshall take on Notre Dame and win. I've seen Marshall do a pretty good program this year. Marshall going into James Madison getting 12.5 points. We grabbed our nuts and we're taking that bet. James Madison going in. Let me make sure I got that down here. Where in the hell did that go? Oh, there it is. Marshall. This is what I like to see. They opened as a 13.5 point dog. They've now steamed to 12.5 points. So money is starting to come in on Marshall because that's a lot of points. And Marshall, I'm sure, is studying the game films from last week about how they do it. How you doing, Gerald? Good to see you. I'm doing well. Nice to see you. Always an honor to see you in the chat. All right, we're talking a little football, making a little money. I happen to think Marshall is too high quality a football team to be a 12.5 point dog to James Madison. So we take a chance on it. We could get blown out this week. But I got to go with what my instincts tell me and my gut tells me. My gut tells me that Georgia Southern pried open the oyster a little bit and figured out a way to get the pearl. Marshall's had a week to study that film, all that stuff. I don't know. But I do know 12.5 points is a lot of points to lay if you're a home favorite. So that's that. Purdue and Wisconsin. This is 2.5 points. Purdue's a 2.5 point dog going into Wisconsin. Some things just defy a I don't know. Was Wisconsin not in the top 10 when the year began? They were. And how is their year gone? How is Purdue's year gone? Yeah, we covered NFL, which I don't bet NFL because it's too much parity. But I did cover it off. How is Purdue done? From the dumper, they have been rising. I just think Queenstown, Purdue, going in, I'll take the 2.5 points. Because Purdue finds a way to be competitive. And go, yes, I think the Lions will lose in Dallas this week. Either that or they turn the season around down there. That's a tall order. In Dallas. But I think Purdue, yes, there's injuries, but that gives equivalency on both sides there. And I just like and trust the Purdue program a little more than the Wisconsin program right now. Could be wrong. Maybe the old Wisconsin will surface again. Maybe this will be a beatdown this week like I've never had before. Or maybe Purdue goes in there and takes advantage of Wisconsin and wins the game. Queenstown kid? Yeah, Dallas should be it'll be a big game. Ole Miss and LSU. Ole Miss is now a 2-point dog. They started as a 1.5 point dog. I don't know. I'll tell you, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Duke, James Madison have been my big 4 dogs at making money. I'm not sure David Jackson. 4 teams that have been real money makers for me. I got Ole Miss going into LSU. LSU pretty much got dismantled. I don't know who in the hell it was. It was Clemson or whoever went in there, or somebody just kicked their ass around the field. Made money on that game. Ole Miss just cannot seem, they've not lost yet. They cannot seem to get the respect level. Because everybody's always like, well, you played in inferiors, you played cupcake schools and all that. Good night, Flan. Well, I'll tell you what. I've already bet Duke here. I'm taking Ole Miss and the points because they brought me to the dance this far. And I think they're going to take me home. It's going to be a tall order in Baton Rouge to go in there and win the game. But I think Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin has got that team just set. How can I turn my back on them when I see a very lumpy LSU team? I don't see a ton of lumpiness in Ole Miss. Okay. What do I mean by lumpy? Bad quarters, good quarters. Bad quarters. Yeah, love you too. Good to see you. Okay, Arizona State University of Stanford. Okay. Let's see, this line was laying 3 points for Stanford. Now you're laying 2.5 on that. So the money's coming in. Arizona State University is traveling to Stanford, Palo Alto. Stanford now has victory under their belt. Okay, they went into South Bend, Indiana, and they beat Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame isn't the cock of the walk this year, but they're a pretty damn good team. Hey, Luce, how you doing? How can I fade Stanford at home against Arizona State University? They're starting to gel now. They're starting to get it together as a team. I got to take Stanford in that situation, and I've done pretty damn good on the Pac-12 here, so I'm going to roll with that, okay? Because I think Stanford is getting into position. How you doing, Luce? Good to see you. I thought that would have been 3.5 to 6 points, something like that. I was really surprised. Boise State at Arizona at Air Force. Saturday, that's going to be a marquee game at 7 o'clock at night. You have a very high-powered triple option offensive Air Force who's really gone to the ground and pound this year, against a Boise State team that once they got rid of Bachmeier and he hit the transfer portal and said, sayonara, screw you, they grabbed their nuts and they've been playing outstanding Boise State football like we know Boise State football is. Don't forget, Air Force lost to Wyoming. Still burned into my head. That's one of those things you tune into the scores, you're like, what the hell? I think Boise's a very rejuvenated team. Going into the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, getting 3 points, I got to take it. Like I say, this could be a beatdown of all beatdowns this week. I don't know. Okay, but sometimes you just got to grab your balls and get out there and put the butts in. And I'm taking Boise in this situation to go into Colorado Springs and get the job done. It should be a good game. It should be a good game. I don't think Air Force is going to be running all over Boise. And I think Air Force is really kind of too scared to throw the ball. So they have a one-dimensional offense. And I think Boise can move the ball. Got to take them. What else have we got here? Did that win? Oh, Mississippi State at Alabama here. Boo, 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 boo. I got this somewhere on here. Where in the hell is that? Did I not bet that thing? We got so many games going. I guess we don't have that one. I don't know why. I wanted to take the points in Mississippi State going into Alabama. Now, people will say it's going to be a bounce back game for Alabama. They're pissed. They want to go kick the shit out of another team. Yeah, it might be snowing too. Kick the shit out of another team. Right? Kick the crap out of another team. I'm not sure Mississippi State's the one that's going to take that beating. I don't know. What do you think, Luce? I see that I didn't bet the game. Probably because I didn't trust what was going to happen in the revenge. Yeah, App State covered. We didn't make the bet. Ooh, I love this next one. Minnesota traveling to Penn State for a whiteout. If you don't know what a whiteout is in Penn State, look it up. Minnesota's coming in as a defensive power. But guess what? Illinois beat them. And you guys know Illinois has been a moneymaker for me this year too, since game one. 4 points. Penn State's laying 4 points at home. I don't see any reason that Penn State should not be able to win this game. I happen to think that their defense can stand up to Minnesota's offense. And I think in a lot of ways, the Penn State offense may be superior to Minnesota's offense from what I've seen. So I'm going Penn State and laying the points at home against Minnesota here. Texas A&M against South Carolina. -3.5. That's steamed to -3 now, so that's good. Because I gotta back A&M, man. I'm sorry. I cannot take the Gamecocks. I just can't do it. All right. I just think Texas A&M is a very, very, very strong game. And I don't have any belief South Carolina knows they're really not going anywhere this year. I don't know how much their hearts are going to be into this game. I know they're playing in South Carolina at Columbia. You tell me. All right. We took Texas A&M and the points against South Carolina. UCF 4.5 point favorite to East Carolina University. I'm really surprised about this one, Luce. I saw UCF just decimate SMU. Now they're taking their show on the road to East Carolina University. I know East Carolina's had some good wins. But I just think for a tenacious team, UCF is really, really, really... Get off that table. Son of a... Get down there. What are you doing? Get down. We're taking UCF, and well, the game, it's tightened up too. It's steaming. It was 5. It's 4.5. Yeah, I like UCF. I like their program. I think they're solid as a rock. I think that they can go into ECU and get the job done. And we put our money where our mouth is. We got 17 bets we're rolling this week. All right. KSU, Kansas State, and TCU. TCU's been another team that has just been making me money consistently. Last week I should have just bet, I don't even know, but TCU, we had the 68.5 point over under. It's all good till the last 30 seconds. It's all rolling good, and then the wheels fall off the cart and they're like scoring like 80 points. Right, two overtimes, bunch of bullshit or whatever. You can never count TCU out. I have seen them at their hardest game, Oklahoma State University. And the fact that they're going into Kansas State, and I respect KSU's program, but I'm saying if I can pick TCU and laying 3.5 points at home, I can't turn that down. TCU. Rolling with them again. Pittsburgh and Louisville, I don't really care. Okay, here's another one. Washington and Cal. I've seen nothing in Cal's program. They lost to Colorado last week. I was like, oh, the Washington Huskies, the wheels fell off the cart. UCLA went up there and tore them to pieces. Yeah, I know. I had pocket change riding my balls, right, the whole night that was going on. But you'll never convince me that this year that Washington is not, the Huskies are not a superior team to Cal. And I don't care if they're playing at Strawberry Canyon down in Berkeley. I just think that Washington can go in there and get the job done. If Cal manages to win that game, I will be stunned. Now they are at home, but I don't think home or away ever meant anything to Washington State. I mean Washington, University of Washington Huskies. Yeah, Pot Canyon. So I've got to take, we took Washington. It's still holding at 7.5, unbelievably. We're laying 7.5 points on the road in Berkeley. All right. Georgia State, App State. So that gets all the games. Is there anything that I forgot here? Let's see. Georgia Tech laying the 3.5. Iowa, I don't know. Geez, I should probably get my head examined. Loose. 29.5 points. Iowa's getting, it's now 30.5 points going into the shoe. We're about to test the theory that defense can at least keep you in games. Because of all the football teams in the NCAA this year, the most frustrating for me to watch is Iowa because their defense is so damn good. And their offense is so pathetic. But I've started to see a little bit of a glimmer of hope. Unleashing the running game a little bit. A little bit of, a timid pass here and there. I took the points. We took the points with, I got to take a shot. I'm not going to make money back in Ohio State. It's going to be too, it's going to be a heart attack. I'd rather get my ass whipped solid and sit there like a nail biter. We took Duke. Controversial. But Duke is in every single football game right up to the last play. We're getting 8.5 points to go into Miami. Duke is in every football game right up to the last play. They could have gone either way. The last two games were, ran out of time in the week before. Toledo. Feel a little shaky about this one, but I love the quarterback for Toledo. Toledo's been a moneymaker. I told you last week, Luce, they were down 21-0 in the first quarter to Kent State. They came back and won 52-30-something. Buffalo has only given up 14 points in the last two games. I know. So now I'm telling Toledo, go into Buffalo Lay the 6.5 points and still win. I don't know. We took Georgia Southern, we took Purdue, we took UCLA, we took Penn State laying the points, Texas A&M laying the points, UCF laying the points, TCU laying the points, Washington laying the points, Stanford laying the points, Marshall taking the points, Troy taking the points, Boise State taking the points, and Ole Miss taking the points. I love the Rockets. That quarterback is the whole team. And I was saying earlier, Luce, if somebody doesn't pick up that kid, if one of these power teams doesn't pick up this quarterback I know there are going to be 10 teams slobbering at that. Hey, Messias, I'm doing good. I like a good balance between laying points and taking points. I think it shows good balance. We have some diversification here. This is going to be a very hard week. These games are going to be, for the most part, very competitive games. I don't sense anything because of blowout, maybe Ohio. I don't see Ohio State blowing out Iowa. I don't see Air Force blowing out Boise. I don't see UCLA get blown out by Oregon here. I don't know. Lots of laying and taking. Anyway, guys, that's going to be another wrap for, there's the picks we got. We got 17 games that we are rolling this week. Going into this week, 36 wins and 23 losses, which I think is a pretty commendable record at this point in the year. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm turning my attention to college basketball next. Not going to be involved with pro, but there it is, guys. So thank you. Thumbs up or appreciate it. If you've not hit the thumbs up button, please take a second to do so. Thank you for being here. May all your bets be big ones and great ones. In the meantime, Vegas Rosie signing off. Have a great night, everybody.